Greetings, my name is Michael Stavrakakis and I'm the singer of Doomocracy from Greece. Welcome to a brand new episode of Addicted to List. This is the second episode about my favorite US metal albums, a genre which I love very much. If you haven't yet checked out that episode, click this link. In my previous episode, Dimitris Kartaloglu, the singer of Sacral Rage, gave a very good definition of what US metal is. Obviously, we're not talking about every metal band that has come out of the United States, but mostly of heavy metal subgenre, which we call US metal. So let me try as well to make a brief comment about what US metal stands for, at least for me. We're talking about bands that started in the early 80s in the United States, playing from classic heavy metal to more speed and power metal, while scratching the edges of thrash metal and progressive metal. The singers' performances are more dramatic than European power metal, for example. The lyrics are dark and mysterious and even political sometimes. And the guitar riffs are playing a most important role in US metal. They are razor sharp, purely aggressive and imposing, sometimes fast but moving in moderate speeds as well. And of course US metal features some of my favorite singers, like the incredible Jeff Tate, like John Arch, the master of innovative vocal melodies, like the soul-moving Midnight, the incredibly versatile Tom Mallicoat, the screaming Mr. Steve Benito, Mr. Vampire James Rivera, Mr. Carl Albert, an astonishing singer who is really missed today, and Mr. John Oliva from Savatage, who needs no introduction. Let me say at this moment that bands like Warlord, Omen, Manila Road, and Manowar can all be considered as US metal, but I will feature them in another episode of Epic Metal. Today's guests are Ludwig Krammer, editor of German Rock Hard magazine; Andrae Holger, writer for Power Metal Online magazine; Vasilis Kouroumalis, writer and presenter at Vic's Dungeon; and music enthusiast and heavy metal fan addicted to lists, Mr. Pavlos Sideropoulos. So if you think that's a good idea, let's begin. Here are my top 10 favorite US metal albums. When I first started listening to heavy metal and Queensryche, my friend Manolis, a guy who has given me a lot of albums to listen to when I was growing up, he gave me a videotape of Queensryche's live in Tokyo performance, and that was a jaw-dropping experience. To see this band playing these amazing songs even better than the album was shocking, just as Jeff Tate's voice sounded even better live. Warning is a truly mesmerizing album filled with passionate performances and sheer youth take no prisoners mentality. Released in 1984, right after the incredible EP Queen of the Right, The Warning is a masterpiece. And although Queensryche have released many more incredible albums like Rage for Order, for example, or the incredible Operation Mindcrime, there are many people who consider The Warning as Queensryche's best album. My favorite songs from The Warning are the title song, Take Hold of the Flame, incredible song, Roads to Madness, what an epic song, Child of Fire, and Unforced. But to be honest, every song of the album is phenomenal. What can I say that hasn't already been said about Transcendence, the incredible album of Crimson Glory? It is one of my favorite albums of all time, not just US metal favorite. The incredible riffs, and especially the guitar sound, which is one of my favorite guitar sounds ever. I should make a list about favorite guitar sounds now that I think of it. The drums on Transcendence are exceptional as well. I love the drum sound. I know many say that it sounds like a drum machine, but I don't care, I just love that sound. The lyrics of the album are sheer poetry touching the deepest strings of our heart. And then of course there's the voice of Midnight, one of the most incredible singers in heavy metal. When you listen to Midnight's voice, you can't help but be moved and amazed. The incredible emotion in his singing and the soaring high vocals. One of my favorite singers of all time. But along with Midnight's voice, the most crucial part of Transcendence is the songwriting, which is really top-notch. And then there's the album cover, which is also incredible. The definition of a 10 out of 10 album. People who know me know how much I love Fates Warning. They are definitely one of my favorite bands in heavy metal. I own their whole discography on vinyl, and there is no mediocre album being released from this band. I would rate all their albums from very good to exceptional to mythical. Fates Warning were one of the pioneers of what we call U.S. metal. Their first album, Night Unbroken, was released on the same year as Queensryche's The Warning, an album with some amazing songs. Then a year later came The Spectre Within, one of the most amazing albums of US metal and heavy metal in general, reaching finally to 1986 and the release of Awaken the Guardian. Awaken the Guardian will be featured in many of my favorites lists. It is definitely one of my top 5 heavy metal albums. It is my favorite US metal album. It has one of my favorite album covers and one of my favorite singers in heavy metal. Where do I start? The vocals, the most innovative vocal melodies in heavy metal for me. John Arch is an amazing singer, but mostly he is blessed with finding the most peculiar maybe, but mind-blowing vocal melodies. His vocals are powerful, majestic, with soaring high notes, and he still sings incredible to this day. Just check out the Arch Mateos albums, you will be amazed. Also some of my favorite songs in heavy metal like Guardian, Valley of the Dolls, Fata Morgana, The Sorceress, Exodus, Prelude to Ruin, all the songs of the album. This is just an amazing album. If for some reason you haven't already checked that album out, just pause this video and go check it out. The lyrics are right out of Fantasy's finest, the mind-blowing solos by both Mateos and Frank Aresti, the incredible bass by Joe DiBiase, and the drums by Steve Zimmerman. Ever since I heard this album, I've never stopped listening to it. I never got bored of it, not just a bit. I love it from start to finish, and I think I will always love this album. I would also like to comment on the amazing Digital Dictator by Vicious Rumors, an album which I hold dearly in my heart, one of the most amazing US metal albums, and of course Sanctuaries, Refuge Denied or Into the Mirror Black, whichever you choose, I'm fine with it. Phenomenal albums with the incredible voice of Warrell Dane, and Hellstar's Speed Power pinnacle US metal album Nosferatu, with the incredible super fast guitars and the mind-blowing vocals of James Rivera. And of course, one more album that I'd like to quote is One Small Voice by Heir Apparent, a really emotional album bearing the stamp of Terry Gold and the singer Steve Benito, whose performance on the album is one of my favorites in heavy metal. Moving on now to the list of my distinguished guests. First, Mr. Ludwig Krammer, editor of German Rock Hard magazine. I met Ludwig 10 years ago in Germany at Hammer of Doom Festival when Doomocracy was playing there for the first time. And then I saw him again last year when Doomocracy returned to Hammer of Doom Festival. He's an incredible person and a very experienced editor. So here is Ludwig Krammer's US Metal Favorites list. Ludwig, I'm glad we agree that Awaken the Guardian is our favorite US metal album, and we also have some bands and albums in common.
US metal is the genre of all genres, the crown of metal that offers everything and much more. I could have easily chosen 100 albums for this list and it still wouldn't be complete. All hail the unsung heroes of this fantastic musical art. US metal forever.
Moving on now to Andrae Holger, writer for German Power Metal Online magazine. Andrae was also a guest on Addicted to Lists episode 4, favorite thrash metal albums. So here is the list of favorite US metal albums by Andrae Holger.
Everything about the debut album of Metal Church is magic, starting with that iconic artwork over to that crunching sound to the songs themselves. I saw them live in 1985 with Exciter and I was blown away. The A-side is probably the best A-side ever recorded. The best B-side, of course, is Rising.
Moving on now to Vasilis Kouroumalis, writer and presenter at Vix Dungeon. I've known Vasilis for more than 30 years, from his early days as singer of local thrash metal band Ensemble, the first heavy metal band that I saw live, and I was really impressed and inspired by Vasilis' stage presence and performance. And he also has a YouTube channel named Vix Dungeon where he talks about all things metal. It is in Greek, but I hope you can find an automated translation on YouTube. So go check out his channel and subscribe, and let's check out the list of his favorite US metal albums. Time now for you to see how I created all those drum sounds and patterns. Fotis Bernardo Drums is a drum instrument that gives you access to two professional drum kits, a top-of-the-line studio sound with an unparalleled realism. I've been using it a lot lately and I must say that it is very realistic, easy to use and it sounds amazing. It gives you full mixing control and high-quality effects, full routing options and a huge selection of MIDI grooves covering at the highest quality a variety of popular music genres. It gives you everything you need to create the perfect drum tracks for all kinds of extreme and not only production. So if you want an all-star drummer like Fotis Bernardo playing some awesome sounding grooves for your next project, you can use my affiliate link in the description of this video and acquire Fotis Bernardo drums by Stigmatized Productions at a discounted price.
Hello Mike, thanks for having me on your show. I'd like to say a few words about two of the albums featured on my list. The first one is Leatherwolf's Leatherwolf, which is the third release by Leatherwolf called Leatherwolf. They obviously love that name. I'm talking about the 1987 album, their sophomore release. Triple axe attack, three guitarists, including Michael Olivieri, who is one of my favorite vocalists in the whole of metal. I love his voice, and I especially love the theatrics he incorporates into his performance. A prime example of that would be Gypsies and Thieves, which is my favorite song on the album. But you can expect to hear excellent guitar work, excellent songwriting that stretches from hard rock to very complex power metal. And I would also recommend the following release, Street Ready, from '89, also an amazing album. The other album I'd like to say a few words about is Hellstar's Nosferatu, the first side of which is dedicated to Bram Stoker's Dracula and features some movie samples from the movie Dracula of 1979, I think, which makes it great because every song has an intro from that movie and it becomes very memorable and a part of the song. Love that. Obviously, the thing that attracts me on this release is the guitar work and especially the riffs. I love the riffs featured in Hellstars, A Distant Thunder and Nosferatu. A Distant Thunder was released in 1988 and it was the first album that featured Andre Corbin on guitars, who I think dramatically increased the awesomeness of the riffs in Hellstar. And Nosferatu just happens to have a lot more riffs than A Distant Thunder has, so that's why it gets first place. That's it. Thanks for having me. See ya.
When I was preparing the two episodes for my favorite US metal albums, I talked with Vasilis and we exchanged lists like we always do. As you can see, we were both pleasantly surprised that we have so many common albums in our US metal list. Moving on now to music enthusiast Pavlos Sideropoulos. Here is his list of favorite US metal albums. So that was it, my favorite US metal albums. Be sure to check out the previous episode with my favorite US metal albums from number 20 to number 11. I wanted to thank you for your support, for sharing your list and for subscribing to this channel. And leave a quote in the comments with your own favorite list. Also tell me what other lists you want me to feature on this channel. Till next time, stay safe and rock on!